Hey guys, so today we're going to be making the giant peg. Okay, so this is one of the advanced projects that we do at Renello College. So to start that, we obviously need a new sheet. That's the picture of the peg. We'll be referring to that for our measurements and things throughout. So I've got it here. As you can see, it is quite large because knowing that everything's in millimeters, 140 millimeters long, and then it is also 30 millimeters wide. So yeah, it is quite large. So what we're going to have to do now is using these millimeters. So I generally make a blank first. So without any of the holes in it, I'm just going to make that peg shape. So I'm going to have to make it 140 millimeters long and then 19 millimeters long up, etc., etc. Okay. So let's get started. So if I bring up this 2D sketch, and we're opening up here, rotating it around. So the first thing I'm going to do is do my baseline, and we know this is going to be 140 millimeters long. Okay, so now that's done, I can go OK. We know at the rear it's going to be 5 millimeters high. Okay, so we've got those two done. So finishing those two, now we're moving on to this one over here. We're going up 9 millimeters. Okay. Now here's the tricky part, because we want this all to fit together, and this top section is quite, as you'll see over here. Okay, it's going to be quite difficult to do. Okay, even with all the measurements telling us what to do, you can see that that doesn't go all the way up to the top of the peg there. You see that it's slightly lower than the actual middle section. So what we need to do is actually do some calculations in our head. So we know half of 12.5 is going to be 6.25. So whatever the measurement is across there, we're going to have to add on 6.25. So if I go to Dimension Tool, and we'll add on, or we can just go to the edge there. So 56.16. Okay, and that's to the middle of that circle. Oh no, it's to the edge of that circle. So we actually want to go from the middle to the edge. So that's 50 millimeters. Okay, so you can see there that if I make a straight line from there to there, it's going to be 50 millimeters. Okay, so that's what we need to do, and we can actually dimension that afterwards. So if we go here, we make this line. It doesn't actually matter where we make this line. Okay, I know I'm saying that, and it's on this program you need to make sure everything's exact, but I can make that there, have it the right dimension, and then actually dimension it afterwards. So I can actually use the dimension tool now to make that 19 millimeters. Okay, so you'll see that it moves down, and then I know that, sorry, I'm trying to go to the wrong thing. I know so that's 19 millimeters up, that's 9 millimeters, and so that leaves 10 millimeters more up. Okay, so what I can do is, I'm doing it again. So what I can do is move this, dimension that from that. So it's already 10 millimeters away. So we need to go this way and make another 10. Okay, so then I know that line that goes down there is going to be perfect. So I can put this one here and this line here. Okay, so that's the basic, as you can see, without any of the circles cut into it, that's the basic outline of the peg. So straight line across, down, down, and across like that. Okay, so that's how it looks. So all I need to do then is extrude that. So 3D model extrude. And we know this is going to be 30 millimeters. Okay, we can see it on the drawing we just had up. And zoom out again. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to make all the circles and then cut them out on this. So to do that, we need to go back to our drawing. We can see where all the circles are in relation to the ends here. Okay, so these circles, they're all 12.5. So if I open this back up, and I know this one is going to actually be just on the edge here. Okay, we calculated that before. Okay, and the next one, so I can just choose anywhere. 0.5. Okay, so with those there, so that one's actually on a set point. This one's not yet. So if I actually have a look, did it again. Here I know that it's going to be 20 millimeters from the edge, so I can go back here, dimension it, and I want the middle of this to be 20 millimeters away from there. And I was actually really close. Okay, so you can see that moved it over a little bit, and that's cool. So now what we want to do, we want to have a look back over here, and we know these small ones, they're going to be 8 millimeters. Okay, so if I go back here, no, I'm not. I'm doing it again. And I know these are going to be 8 millimeters. So I can actually do that just in the middle. 8. Okay, and again. And you see how all these lines are snapping themselves. So you see that dotted line there, snapping it so it's in the middle. Okay. Alright, so I've got my two 8 millimeter lines. Right click and go OK. So I've got all these to cut out. So if I go 3D model, extrude, and I've got all of those, and I just need to change this to cut. Okay, so now I've got the bottom section of my peg almost underway. So the one thing that we're missing on this, as you can see, is the hole there. And we know that that hole is going to be 8 millimeters from this drawing up top. And we also know that it's going to be 15 millimeters in. So the reason there's that measurement and no other measurement telling you how far laterally it's going in is because you just presume it's in the middle. Okay, if there's no drawing, or if there's no measurement, sorry. So turn this around, so we're drawing on this one, so left click and then add new sketch. We want to add a 8 millimeter hole, 8, and so we can actually dimensional this again. So as you can see, without any lines or anything, it's not going to just snap to the right spot. Although again, I got pretty close, surprisingly. That never normally happens. 15. So now we know it's perfect. We can go 3D model, extrude, and we're going to cut this one out as well. Okay, cut, done. And there's the bottom section of our peg complete. So after finishing that part of our peg, the last thing we need to do now is make that little insert part. So we're obviously, it's not obvious, but we're actually making a new part for this one because as you can see, it fits in the middle there. We know that it's going to be 8 millimeters because it has to fit in these holes. So if I go back over here, it's as simple as going to circle tool, doing that. Oh no, we're in inches. So if you ever do get stuck in the wrong units, make sure you go back over to tools, document settings, change it to millimeters and go OK. You don't have to close it and then start again. Okay, so that's just a quick one there. So going to that, making that 8 millimeters. Okay, and then going 3D model, extrude, and then we know the width of our peg is 30 millimeters, and so that's done. Okay, so once we've done that, we've got our two parts, and as you can see, we can always just use, so we've got the bottom, we've drawn this part that we can then use for both the top and the bottom because it's generic, and then we've got this part that we're now going to use for the middle. Okay.